Chocolate is a favorite treat around the world, but have you ever wondered how it's made? The journey from cocoa bean to chocolate bar is fascinating. It involves many steps and a lot of care. Let's take a closer look at this sweet process. The story begins in tropical countries. Cocoa beans grow in places like Africa, South America, and Southeast Asia. Farmers harvest these beans from cocoa trees. They work hard to ensure we get the best chocolate. Next, the beans go through several processes. They need to be fermented, dried, and roasted. Each step is crucial to develop the flavors we love. Finally, the beans are ground, tempered, and molded into bars. By the end of this journey, the humble cocoa bean becomes a delicious chocolate bar. It's a treat that brings joy to many. Let's dive deeper into each step of this process. Cocoa beans come from the cacao tree. This tree grows in hot, rainy climates. The main producers are countries near the equator. Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Indonesia are top cocoa bean producers. Cacao trees need special conditions to thrive. They grow best in temperatures between 20 degrees Celsius and 30 degrees Celsius. They also need plenty of rainfall. These trees can grow up to 15 meters tall. However, in plantations, they are kept shorter to make harvesting easier. The fruit of the cacao tree is called a cacao pod. Each pod contains about 30 to 50 beans. The pods are colorful, ranging from yellow to red. They take about 5 to 6 months to mature after blooming. Farmers carefully monitor their cacao trees. They ensure the trees get enough water and nutrients. Healthy trees produce better beans, and better beans mean better chocolate. Harvesting cocoa beans is a manual process. Farmers use machetes to cut the ripe pods from the trees. This hard work is usually done twice a year. The main harvest season varies by region. Once the pods are harvested, they are opened. Inside, there's a sweet, sticky pulp surrounding the beans. Farmers scoop out the beans and pulp together. This mixture is then placed in shallow containers. The next step is fermentation. But before that, the beans need to rest. This rest period allows the pulp to start breaking down. It's the first step in developing the beans' flavor. Harvesting is labor-intensive. It requires skill and precision. Each pod is handled with care to avoid damaging the beans. This careful handling ensures the highest quality beans for the next steps. Fermentation is a critical step. It takes about 5 to 7 days. The beans and pulp are placed in wooden boxes or covered with banana leaves. This environment helps the beans ferment naturally. During fermentation, the pulp breaks down. The beans heat up and change color. They go from purple to brown. This process develops the beans' flavor. It also reduces their bitterness. Fermentation is monitored closely. The beans are stirred regularly to ensure even fermentation. Proper fermentation is key to good chocolate. It's during this stage that the beans start to develop their chocolatey aroma. After fermentation, the beans need to be dried, but first they are spread out to cool down. This cooling period is important. It stops the fermentation process and prepares the beans for drying. Section 5. Drying cocoa beans. Drying is another important step. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks. The beans are spread out in the sun. They are turned regularly to ensure even drying. This process reduces the moisture content of the beans. Sun drying is the traditional method. However, in some places, mechanical dryers are used. These dryers speed up the process, but sun drying is preferred for its natural benefits. Drying affects the flavor and quality of the beans. Properly dried beans have a moisture content of about 6 to 7%. If the beans are too wet, they can mold. If they're too dry, they can break. Both can affect the quality of the chocolate. Once dried, the beans are ready for the next step. They are packed in bags and shipped to chocolate makers around the world. This is where the magic of making chocolate begins. Section 6. Roasting cocoa beans. Roasting is where the beans transform into something truly special. This process enhances their flavor and aroma. Chocolate makers roast the beans at different temperatures. Each maker has their own secret recipe. Roasting times and temperatures vary. It usually takes between 10 to 35 minutes. The temperature ranges from 110 to 160 degrees Celsius. The goal is to bring out the best flavors without burning the beans. Roasting also makes it easier to remove the beans' shells. Once roasted, the beans are cooled quickly. This helps to stop the cooking process. The roasted beans are then cracked open to remove the shells. What's left is called cocoa nibs. Cocoa nibs are the purest form of chocolate. They're crunchy and have a strong chocolate flavor. Nibs can be eaten as they are or used to make chocolate. The next step is to grind these nibs into a paste. Section 7. Grinding cocoa beans into paste. Grinding is a crucial step in making chocolate. The roasted nibs are ground into a thick paste. This paste is called cocoa mass or cocoa liquor. Despite its name, it contains no alcohol. During grinding, the nibs are crushed by heavy rollers. This process generates heat which melts the cocoa butter in the nibs. The result is a smooth, liquid paste. This paste is the base for all chocolate products. Cocoa mass can be separated into cocoa powder and cocoa butter. These two ingredients are essential in different types of chocolate. Cocoa butter gives chocolate its smooth texture. Cocoa powder is used in baking and making dark chocolate. Grinding can take several hours. The goal is to achieve a fine, smooth paste. This paste is then ready for the next stages, conching and tempering. Section 8. Conching the chocolate. Conching is a process that refines the chocolate paste. It was invented by Rudolf Lindt in the late 19th century. Conching improves the texture and flavor of the chocolate. During conching, the chocolate paste is continuously mixed. This process can take several hours or even days. The paste is heated and aerated. This helps to remove any unwanted flavors. Conching also makes the chocolate smoother. It breaks down the particles in the paste to a fine consistency. The longer the conching, the smoother the chocolate. Some high-quality chocolates are conched for up to 72 hours. After conching, the chocolate is ready for tempering. This step ensures the chocolate has a good texture and shine. It also helps to prevent blooming, which is when the cocoa butter separates from the chocolate. Section 9. Tempering the chocolate. Tempering is a vital step in making chocolate bars. It involves carefully cooling and reheating the chocolate. This process stabilizes the cocoa butter crystals. Proper tempering gives chocolate its shiny appearance and crisp snap. Tempering involves heating the chocolate to a specific temperature. Then it's cooled down and reheated. The exact temperatures depend on the type of chocolate. For example, dark chocolate is tempered at different temperatures than milk chocolate. There are different methods of tempering. One common method is the seeding method. This involves adding finely chopped tempered chocolate to melted chocolate. Another method is tabling, where the chocolate is spread on a marble slab to cool. Properly tempered chocolate is smooth and glossy. It has a pleasant snap when broken. Tempering also ensures the chocolate sets properly and doesn't melt easily in your hands. Section 10. Molding and wrapping the chocolate bars. The final step is molding and wrapping the chocolate bars. The tempered chocolate is poured into molds. These molds come in various shapes and sizes. The chocolate is then cooled to set. Molding can take a few minutes to several hours, depending on the size of the mold. Once set, the chocolate bars are removed from the molds. They are inspected for quality. Any imperfect bars are remelted and remolded. After molding, the chocolate bars are wrapped. Wrapping is important to protect the chocolate from moisture and air. It also makes the chocolate look attractive. Fancy wrappers can add to the appeal of the chocolate. Finally, the chocolate bars are ready to be enjoyed. They are shipped to stores and homes around the world. From a humble cocoa bean to a delicious chocolate bar, the journey is complete.